In the heart of a vibrant, sun-dappled forest, where ancient trees reached for the sky, lived a magnificent lion. He was known throughout the land for his immense strength and his booming, authoritative roar. One sweltering afternoon, after a long hunt, the mighty lion sought refuge beneath a giant oak. He settled down for a well-deserved nap. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth. Blooming wildflowers and the gentle hum of insects lulled him into a deep slumber. His golden mane, usually bristling with power, lay softly against the cool moss. Meanwhile, a tiny, timid mouse, with fur the color of autumn leaves, scurried through the undergrowth. She had bright, curious eyes and was on an important mission, searching for the sweetest berries. Lost in her thoughts, she wasn't paying close attention to her path. With a sudden, unintentional misstep, she found herself scampering directly across the lion's enormous twitching nose. The lion, startled from his peaceful dreams, awoke with a thunderous, earth-shaking roar. It echoed through the forest, sending birds scattering from their nests. His eyes, usually calm in repose, now blazed with a fierce, golden anger. He lifted a massive paw, larger than the mouse's entire body, and gently, yet firmly, placed it over her. The mouse, paralyzed with terror, could feel the immense weight and rough pads of his paw. It trapped her completely. Her tiny heart hammered against her ribs like a drum. "Forgive me, mighty king of the jungle," squeaked the mouse, her voice barely a whisper. She trembled with fear. "Please, spare my life. It was a complete accident, I assure you. I meant no disrespect," she pleaded desperately, her small body shaking. "If you show me mercy and let me go, I promise, I will repay your kindness one day. I will find a way to help you, no matter how small I am." The lion stared down at the minuscule creature, his initial fury giving way to amusement. The idea of this tiny, insignificant mouse ever being able to help him was utterly preposterous. He let out a low rumble, a sound that was half growl, half chuckle. The thought was so absurd, so comical, that it softened his heart. He lifted his paw, releasing the terrified mouse. "Go on, little one," he murmured, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. "Perhaps your promise will bring me a laugh someday." The mouse, barely daring to believe her luck, scurried away as fast as her little legs could carry her, her heart filled with immense relief and a silent vow. Days turned into weeks, and the incident faded from the lion's memory. He continued his reign, patrolling his territory with pride and strength. But one fateful morning, as he roamed near the edge of the forest, a hidden danger awaited him. Unbeknownst to the majestic beast, cunning hunters had laid a formidable trap. It was a strong, almost invisible net woven from thick, sturdy ropes, carefully camouflaged. The lion, caught completely by surprise, stepped directly into the snare. Instantly, the ropes tightened around his powerful limbs, pulling him upwards. He was suspended helplessly in the air. He thrashed and struggled with all his might, his muscles straining, but the net held firm. A wave of panic washed over him, followed by searing frustration. He roared, a desperate, echoing sound of anger and despair. It shook the very trees. He pulled, he clawed, he bit at the thick cords, but they seemed unbreakable. The more he struggled, the tighter the net became. Digging into his flesh, he was trapped, utterly powerless, and fear began to creep into his heart. His roars of distress carried far through the quiet forest. It so happened that the very same little mouse, still remembering her solemn promise, was foraging nearby. Her sensitive ears picked up the familiar, yet now anguished sound of the lion's voice. Recognizing his distinct roar and sensing the deep trouble he was in, she didn't hesitate. Her tiny heart, though still prone to fear, was now filled with a fierce determination. She scurried with remarkable speed, following the sound of his cries. When she arrived, her eyes widened at the sight of the magnificent lion, tangled in the cruel net. Without a moment's thought for her own safety, she immediately set to work. Her sharp, tiny teeth, perfect for gnawing, began to chew diligently at the thickest ropes. She worked tirelessly, her small jaws aching, but she kept going, driven by gratitude. One strand after another, she gnawed through the tough fibers, slowly weakening the net. The lion watched in astonishment, a glimmer of hope returning to his eyes. He had laughed at her promise, but here she was, his unlikely savior. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, a crucial rope snapped, then another. The net began to unravel, and with a final mighty tug from the lion, the last strands gave way. He tumbled to the ground, free at last, albeit a little bruised and shaken. He looked down at the tiny mouse, who stood panting, her mission accomplished. A profound sense of humility and gratitude filled the lion's heart. "Little friend," he rumbled, his voice soft with emotion, "I truly underestimated you. You have saved my life." The mouse simply nodded, a proud gleam in her eyes. From that day forward, the lion and the mouse became the unlikeliest of friends, teaching everyone in the forest that even the smallest among us can possess the greatest courage. And that kindness, no matter how small, always finds a way to be repaid.